And we are live. It's your favorite insurance agent, DarnaldJr. And this is Finlit Live. This is the show where we talk about financial literacy. And today we are talking about multiple streams of income. And I have your favorite guest back on. It's his third time being on the show. I'm so grateful that he's willing to take time out of his schedule to be on here. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get lit. All right, without any further ado, let's bring on our guest, EZ. What's up, EZ? How are you doing?
Doing well. Excited to be here. Appreciate you having me again, Darnold.
Good. We appreciate you for taking time out. And I know you've been on the show a couple of times, but go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? And what are you up to nowadays?
Ezrael, 27 years old. My birthday's coming up in June, and yeah, I just really have a passion and an affluence for finance. Really love helping people. It's definitely changed my life. It's definitely helped create a foundation for me to, create freedom and show others how to do it. What's current in my life is business as usual. Taking a little bit of break on traveling, but yeah, it's, business and helping people has just been occupying my time. So and really involved with serving at one of the churches here. So that's what's been up in my life.
Excellent. So we know that you were my first guest on the show at the age of 25. Can you believe it's been 2 years ago already?
Well, time is going by when you got a lot of people to help, right? And you got things going on. So I do believe it.
Absolutely. And so your first episode, we talked about at the age of 25, you made over 20 grand, $20,000 in 1 month. There's people that are my age that haven't even made 20 grand in 1 month. And so that was phenomenal. And since then, you've just been going up and up and up and up. And so people are like, bro, how is this kid doing it? What is he doing? So that's what we're here to talk about today is how you can achieve multiple streams of income, just like my boy EZ out there in California. Is that right?
Yes, beautiful California. Can't leave it. Praise God for the sunshine every day. And yeah, just super grateful.
Absolutely. So what are your thoughts? What are some of the streams of income do you think that are viable and practical for people to start applying to their life?
Yeah, definitely. To begin with, like everybody else, we all start off with working for money. And until I was able to educate myself and find out that there are different ways. And when we seek and explore, we usually find it, right? So, I came across a book called Cash Flow Quadrant. It's the same author as Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it's essentially just talks about that there's, 4 different quadrants on how you can make income. And shortly, I used to be in the restaurant industry. I think I talked about that in my previous one of the shows. However, I picked up this book and it totally blew my mind. It talked about how you can work for money. You can get a paycheck every week, every month, or get a salary. And then there's ways that you can work for yourself, which is the self-employed way. And then there's a business, right? There's a business side where you can generate income through people working for you or having people work for you, and then and they pretty much handle your business, and then you kind of just manage. And that's a form of passive income. And the last one is probably my most favorite, which is the I quadrant, which is investing. And there's tremendous amount of ways you can invest, right? It's so generic. However, you can do it through the stock market. You can do real estate. Cryptocurrency is like a big one now that has been very, very popular. But there's just different ways, like affiliate marketing. But the primary ways for me that I like is definitely through the stock market.
Through the stock market? That's a great subject because that was actually our topic for last week's episode. If you haven't watched last week's episode, I'm going to tag it right here. Go ahead and watch it and then come back to this one so you know exactly what the stock market is. So, with that, the stock market has been phenomenal for you. Like, I always see your posts. You actually coach and train people in the stock market. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do consultations. I do one-on-ones. I essentially just guide and based off of their needs, whether if it's more cash flow, whether if it's capital appreciation. Essentially, you just follow my picks.
Yeah. And so I've been seeing their results, and it sounds like they've been doing phenomenally well, like yourself. And so, if somebody was interested in just like kind of getting their foot in the water in the stock market, like, let me back up a little bit. Let's hear your story. Like, how in the world did you get involved with stocks at such a young age? I know I did a stocks a little bit in middle school, but it was more paper trading. We obviously didn't have real money, and I didn't really get into stock market till I was way out of college. But you were barely college age when you first started. Like, how in the world did you get into the stock market at such a young age?
Yeah, sure. The first, I think, thought and idea of what I heard about the stock market is when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is this? You know, I did a little bit of Google searching, no chat GBT yet, right? um, but yeah, actually, you know, I got the idea of it. And then you, Darnold, actually is the one who introduced me on how you profited and had results on how to make money in the stock market. I believe you said that you made about $15,000 doing a trade, and that funded a ministry. And you know, I remember being at the condo, and I was like Googling this stuff, and I was like, oh, you know, it's like wow, like you can make money doing like you know just out of thin air, and like like what does this even mean? So you know, a lot of pontification started. Um, However, where the real meat happened and where the rubber met the road was that, yes, you know, I started reading all these types of books on how to and information about the market. And what really was the catalyst for me was that I used to work in the restaurant industry, and I was serving an individual who was very fond of me because his wife was Filipina. And anyways, long story short, he asked me the right questions. You know, it's like, who do you want to be? What do you want to see? You know, what is it that you want to do in life? And you know, and as a server and as a bartender, I believe like I was just really busy, and like those questions kind of went over my head. But long story short, he ended up he was reaching out to me. It's like, you know, it was like almost like kind of scary because it's usually the opposite way. But you know, he was like, take my number down. You know, I'd really love to help you. And you know, out of respect, I was like, sure, here's my number. And I didn't really take it seriously until he texted me that same night, and it was just like, all right, this guy must be like scamming me or trying to get me to buy his product or service. Um, Long story short, he texted me something about retirement and finance and what compound interest is, and like if I were to put this money away, it would reach up to $1 million, and it really like caught my interest. So, anyways, we scheduled a time, and long story short, like you know, I went to his house, and it was kind of like you know, just stepped out of faith for it because I was really hungry. I was seeking. I had money saved from all working in the restaurant. I'm like, what do I do with this money? You know. Um, Anyways, he showed me that if I were to contribute this X amount of money, then it would compound by the age of 59. It would the probability of me making $1 million would be a lot higher if I started early. So that piqued my interest, right? Until we built this relationship. I think I created a Roth IRA to begin with, and then from there, I was just fascinated. He showed me that. Well, how he really drawed my attention was that he was making like $70,000 through like Trump's presidency, $30,000 through mutual funds, and I was just like, this is insane. Like I can't even fathom this in my own small mind as a 19, 20-year-old. So I was like shocked. So you know, I begged the question. I was like, well, Paxi, I don't want to wait till I'm 59. like, how do I make money sooner? And I got obsessed with it. I started learning. He pointed me the right direction. What I realized is that direction is more important than speed.
Mm.
And that, I don't really need to make money as soon as possible. What I needed to do was learn and just show me the direction of like how to get to your position, Paxton. And then from there, he pointed me the right direction, showed me the right account to open. I think it was through Fidelity. Bought my first stock. It was like very, very risky, but essentially I put in $10,000 into a stock, and then I think I made like 8,000 that first month, and totally blew my mind.
What? Were you trading penny stocks or something?
No, actually, speaking about this certain stock, so I invested in a stock called AMD, and
What? You
yeah,
hold on
and
to it?
no, I didn't, because I had no knowledge. But it's funny because like Nvidia is like $1 trillion a stock now, and it's like,
Yes,
imagine if you just held it, right? But
exactly.
it's all learning experiences, and that's what allows you to change approaches and create strategies, right, and learn.
Speaking of Nvidia, like I only think this is only the beginning, honestly, for them. So this is not stock advice. We're not
Yes.
professionals. We're not certified or anything. This is just our opinion. And so with Nvidia, the reason I think it's even more valuable stock is because ultimately AI is going to be in everything. I don't know if you saw the announcement. You may or may not have, but Elon Musk is in the process of developing human robots. And he made the point that human robots are going to be even more prevalent than Tesla cars. He says they're going to be more practical. It's going to be almost a 1-to-1, if not more to one, more ratio to one human being. Like everybody's going to have 2 or 3 robots to one person type deal.
Wow.
And then, so back to NVIDIA, something has to be the processor for all these robots and for the artificial intelligence. Guess where that puts NVIDIA? It's sitting in a really, really nice position right now. So I think if you jump in front of all the trends, that's how most millionaires become millionaires, is because they see a trend coming and they position themselves before it happens. And we are in a very pivotal time right now in American history and world history at that, where AI is like all the rage, and we're just scratching the surface right now, honestly.
Absolutely. You're not wrong.
Have you been following all that yourself?
I have been. AI is definitely a hot topic right now. I haven't been following their companies, like those semiconductor chips. But ChatGPT is a big topic, right? And it's just a huge topic for business developers and like screenwriters and music writers, and it's actually disrupting a lot of these, human talents. And we have yet to see what is going to unfold based off of careers and what's going to happen. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I'm a big believer in, I've been sharing to my audience that it's a great time to educate yourself on what passive income looks like and the importance of having multiple streams of income, because it'll be your safety net. It'll be the foundation, the rock. It can give you choices, options, and that's the beauty of it. And knowledge is power if used and you take action on it. So
Absolutely.
multiple income streams is the answer, and it's available. It's out there.
So obviously investing in the stock market is one of the streams of income for you. What is another stream of income that you can share with our audience here?
Sure. Yeah. So, I have a business. So through consultation fees, through, residuals through business, and another form of a stream of income through the stock market besides capital appreciation, you can leverage dividends. Dividends is essentially you can create your own salary through the stock market. And that's a one strategy that a lot of people neglect because everybody is taught one way of investing. Go to school, buy some 401k plans, mutual funds, and buy home. Like those are all capital appreciation. And we tend to neglect that. Yes, capital appreciation is important. However, if you really want to replace your income, focus on dividends, focus on interest payments, focus on rental income, focus on affiliated marketing. There's so many different ways to create income streams now, even through cryptocurrency, which is I'm an advocate for it if you have the stomach, right? I don't recommend a lot of my clients to invest in that. That's more on like buy at your own risk, right? And however, there's ways you can, there's called staking, and like that's a form of passive income. That's a form of stream of income. So it's like we live in such a time where we have a buffet of income streams where we can leverage, and it's very essential nowadays. Look at our economy. We got inflation, right? We have, more than inflation. We have hyperinflation. We're in deflation as well. Like it is an amazing. It's such a time where multiple income streams, and my favorite, passive income, is such a it's so prominent. It needs to be learned. It needs to be educated. And I can't emphasize that more because it saved my butt. It saved a lot of my clients of going through stress, of financial stress, because it's the lack of knowledge that it destroys individuals in America. We live in the most prosperous nation in the world, and yet we have the highest statistics of not saving money and of lacking of income. So it's really concerning.
Absolutely. So one of the things you mentioned that I wanted you to hash out a little bit more, because I'm familiar with the concept, but you mentioned the word staking. Like most people have never heard of that word. They think, are you taking me to Perry's Steakhouse? Are you going to Texas Roadhouse? Like what exactly is staking? So can you explain to our audience exactly what staking is?
Sure. I am no expert in cryptocurrency. I actually have a buddy for that. You can message me if you'd like to know his information. However, I personally am not invested in staking. All I know from like layman terms, right? Because that's the easiest way to learn, for me at least. For me, kindergarten level, third grade level, like I'm gonna listen to you. Is essentially that you store, from what I know, audience, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you store your coins at a wallet where depends on which cryptocurrency it is, but essentially by you storing your coins at a certain wallet, it allows you to receive an interest based off of its 5-10%, based off of what that cryptocurrency is giving. So if the rate of your return, or the interest rate, that they're giving, is about 10 or 5%, that's the yield that you would be receiving just by parking your money towards that wallet and cryptocurrency.
So what you're saying is staking is similar to having a dividend on a stock. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So, I'd rather talk about that more because that's where I'm more familiar with. Yeah. So essentially, however, I heard though, like this isn't, again, I'm not very knowledgeable on it because I do not invest into things I don't understand. However, I see, I have business partners that do it. They are showing me returns. It's amazing. So if it works for you, awesome. But what works for me is that, I like to do it fundamental style, like Warren Buffett style. Like this guy buys, Coca-Cola for the dividend, and they pay him a salary, and more than a salary. They pay him millions of dollars just by placing a jet fuel of money to protect. Well, I'm not, to protect and have his appreciation grow. However, Warren Buffett doesn't isn't really focused on the capital appreciation side. He's focused on the dividends, which is essentially, think about it this way: it's a paycheck going into your mailbox every month, quarterly, however it's designed. But that's, you ask me, so like, what does that mean? Is that like money just coming in without you working for it? Yeah, that's essentially it. It's you laying in bed and you can receive a check every month, every week. It just depends on what you're investing in. And it's sad that education is such a it's so lacked in our system, I guess you could say, educational system, that people are more afraid than trying to learn about it, rather than having it be so easy to understand. But it makes it so I don't know why it makes it's so hard um, uh, uh, to understand when we're taught it complex. So that's what makes it difficult, because personally, when I found out about it, and I was just like, so you're telling me that all I got to do is park my money here and I get like a paycheck every month or every week? It's that simple. You don't got to look at charts. You don't got to look at, like, yes, you need minimal experience to analyze and find out how the business is performing, right? Because if you found a lemonade stand that wasn't making money, why would you wouldn't put all your eggs in that basket.
Hmm. Absolutely. And if you want details as far as how dividends work, definitely watch my last show. I break it down for you so you know exactly what a dividend is. And it's awesome that you're bringing them back up. And one of the things that I know a lot of people do that invest in dividends is they do dividend reinvestment.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is once you get a dividend check from a company, you don't just keep the profit unless you use it like a salary, like Easy is talking about. But some people, they're like, this is just bonus money. So what they do is they take that dividend check and they reinvest it back into that same stock, or
Right.
they buy other stocks with it. And so their money is essentially making money. It's like free money making money for them, which is awesome. So that's definitely a great stream of income, is dividend reinvestment. So the thing is, you have to have a substantial amount of money to be able to live off of it. But if you do it consistently with time, then it could really pay dividends, pun intended, for you. So that's awesome. And I know you have a couple other streams of income. What other streams of income do you have outside of stock market and dividends?
Right. So I'm actually licensed in insurance as well. So that's a form of an income stream for me. Depending on how the compensation is structured, at least for me, I'm able to, as soon as I help my clients to be protected, to protect their assets or protect their loved ones, um, based off that, that's a way for me to use my income, not to just spend on an amazing lifestyle, right? However, um, however, the most important thing actually is like what you said, Darnold. It's storing up a substantial amount of capital and then live and invest it, so then you can live off profits rather than your hard-earned money. So that's why I'm a big advocate of what Robert Kiyosaki says. Um, he says first, the rich don't work for money and they make money work for you. And what is so important about that is the second part, is that, like, this foreign idea of making money work for you. Like, what does that mean? But it's essentially is that you save up money from your current job, right? So it's not how much you make, because Robert says it's very loud and clear, and it took me a while for me to deconstruct and understand this. But he said it's not how much money you make, but it's how much you keep, and having that money that you keep working for you. So how much money you keep and how that works for you. And put it into practical terms. It's like, if you had $1 million, right? We're talking math here. If you had $1 million, you find something that is going to yield you or give you a return about 10%. And I'm talking about specifically dividends here. Is that, what's 10% of $1 million? $100,000. So you're telling me easy that 10% of $1 million is $100,000, and that I get to receive that on an annual basis, doing nothing for the rest of my life. Yeah, absolutely. That is out there. Of course it is. However, it's just saving that substantial amount of money where it can give you a juicy rate of return where you're still living a comfortable lifestyle. And based off where you're at. But yeah, it's so essential.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're like easy. It sounds easy for you, pun intended. But get into $1 million. How does somebody save $1 million to be able to live off the 10%? Like, what is the process to get there?
Sure. Listen, my mentor Paxton always told me, he's like, hey, you're very young. I think I was like 20, 21 at the time. And he's like, it looks like you're if you want to learn about saving first, read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like, that has dramatically changed my mindset and outlook on money. Read it like a couple more times until you get it. But the fastest way of saving is actually not through working at a job. Newsflash. Unfortunately, unless you have an amazing salary, then yes, go for it. However, what Americans tend to do is that as soon as their salary goes up, their spending goes up, right? So that's why, like, I just posted a clip of Mark Cuban, right, Shark Tank. He said, I'd rather make $50,000 working for myself than someone who works for someone and it makes about $750,000 a year. Why? Because when you work for yourself, there's no income cap, meaning that if you were to provide service to 10 people and you can do the math in your mind, that means you control your time, and that means that you control your income. And they said that the fastest way to generate income, well, working for it first, is through sales and commission, and they said that if you can sell and if you can live off commission and remove the paycheck mentality, you can store up a substantial, vast amount of capital where you can save it somewhere that creates interest. And you say you now I emphasize strongly on the interest part, because yes, you can save money, right? But how can you make more of it and killing two birds with one stone? Just park it where it creates compound interest, meaning, like I said, for that example, if you have $1 million, 10%, and then if you compound it for 5 years, you can do the math. But you don't have to, strive to make $1 million. If you have cash flow and if you have multiple income streams, you're free. You don't have to get to $1 million. Yes, $1 million sounds amazing, However, it's a great goal, but the goal should be freedom. It shouldn't be, oh yeah, I have $1 million. If you have $1 million and you're still working for money and you can't use that $1 million because you're entangled to somebody else's time, then there's no difference between someone working at a lower pay salary, because you're essentially still working for money and you're still in prison to somebody else's decisions. So you're under their control. So my ultimate philosophy is shoot for multiple income streams, passive income, so that you are free. If you don't have one chicken laying egg, you got another chicken laying eggs. So that's what gives you financial security, financial confidence, and financial control on how you want to direct your life.
I love it. So it's all about freedom. And I always love the phrase. I always challenge everybody to make it a goal to become a millionaire, And if money isn't your motivator, which is not mine personally, but if money isn't a motivator, the reason I challenge everybody to become a millionaire is because not necessarily the amount of money, but it's who you have to become in order to achieve that money. What type of character you have to develop in order to have it. What type of integrity, what type of work ethic you have to have in order to achieve it, right? And so if money's not the motivator, once you hit $1 million, give it away. Find your favorite charity, find your favorite church, give it away. But the person you become in the process of achieving that goal is what's the most important, because what you have is temporary, but what you become is eternal. You like that?
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, thank you guys for tuning in and watching the show. If you have any questions for Easy, feel free to type in the chat. Be happy to have him answer it for you. And while they're doing that, Easy, how can people get a hold of you? You drop so many nuggets, so many wisdom, so many nuggets of wisdom, and you mentor people. Like, how can people get a hold of you to be able to get your tutelage?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram. Social media is probably where you can get a hold of me quick. That is easy_Escarez. You can find me at 13 Capital LLC on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn at Ezrael Escarez. You can find me on Twitter at 13 Capital LLC. And you can find me here at the office as well. If you want the address, you can always just reach out through that. But I love to serve you. I love to help educate you. I want to help change your family's lives. I have such a big passion of giving away free knowledge, man, just like free ideas on how you can change your life and give you confidence to move forward. So I expect all of you, and I hope that I get to meet you one day and just even encourage you. I mean, it doesn't even have to be about money, but I love to create a relationship where we both can do life together.
Absolutely. And how do you spell out your name so people know? Because you have a very unique name.
Yeah, so on the screen it says EZ, but my full name is Ezrael, which is EZ as in zebra, R, A as in apple, E as in elephant, L. And my last name is Escarez, which is ES, C as in Charlie, A as in apple, R, E as in elephant, and Z as in zebra. So Ezrael Escarez, but everybody calls me Easy, so you guys can call me whatever you want.
Just don't call him late for dinner. So cool. Well, thank you, Easy, for being a guest on the show for the third time. You're a staple on the show now since you've been on Trifecta. Got the hat trick. So
Trinity.
There you go, the Trinity. That's right. So we appreciate you for being on the show so many times, and we look forward to having you on the show in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Well, have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Well, if you got any value out of today's episode, go ahead and smash that like button. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to Finlit Live, because this is a show where we talk about personal finances, because, in school, they don't talk about that. So that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to educate you, because the difference between where you are and where you want to be is education, but not just education. It's applying the education. And that's what we call wisdom. Wisdom is when you apply the education. So we appreciate you for tuning in. For those that are in the Houston area, I have a very special announcement on this Friday. If you're available for lunch, join me on a luncheon on the east side of Houston at the North Channel Chamber of Commerce. They have their monthly luncheon, and guess who the guest speaker is? It's going to be yours truly. It's going to be me. So I love to have you there. We're going to talk about attitude and the importance of having a positive attitude, because attitude can and will literally change and save your life. And I'm going to give you practical tools that isn't just all theory, but it's things you could immediately apply to your life. So if that's interesting to you, join us on Friday at 11:30. It's going to be at the San Jac North Campus. And we're going to have a lot of great food, a lot of great people, and a lot of great information that could literally change your life. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's episode. We're going to be back live next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I appreciate you guys for getting lit.